Hello and welcome to NDTV 24/7. I'm Priyanshi Sharma. Up ahead, a look at the top news stories. The Congress elections, in a fresh twist, appear likely to be a contest between Shashi Tharoor and Digvijay Singh. Sources said that Singh will file his nomination within 2 days, but he has denied, saying that it has not been discussed with the Gandhis yet. So far, only Mr. Shashi Tharoor has declared his candidature formally. The filing of nominations can take place till September 30th, and the election will take place on October 17th. Now moving on, Rajasthan's Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot has been expected to meet with Congress interim President Sonia Gandhi amid suspense over whether he will run for Congress President. But he kept denying his travel plans as he consulted his closest aides, who strongly indicated that he may not give up his Rajasthan Chief Minister's role anytime soon. But he is now likely to finally meet the Congress President on Thursday, and he has reached Delhi for that meeting. Listen in to what he said after reaching Delhi.
हमारे लिहाज से हमारे दिल के अंदर, सबके दिल के अंदर, सभी नंबर 1 जो कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष होती है उनके अनुशासन में हम काम करते हैं। आप देखेंगे कि उसी हिसाब से आने वाले वक्त में फैसले होंगे। हम सब मिलके जो आज देश के ऊपर संकट है उसको मीडिया को पहचानना चाहिए। और लेखक है, साहित्यकार है, पत्रकार है, सब संकट में है। देशद्रोही के नाम से वो जेल जा रहे हैं, 2-2 साल तक पड़े रहते हैं जेल के अंदर। चिंता हमें उन लोगों की है जिसके लिए राहुल गांधी यात्रा में निकल पड़ा है, चाहे महंगाई हो, बेरोजगारी हो, या जो ये तानाशाही प्रवृत्ति चल रही देश के अंदर। राहुल गांधी को उसकी चिंता है और हम सब कांग्रेस जनों को इसकी चिंता है कि देश किस दिशा में जा रहा है किसी को नहीं मालूम, किस दिशा में जाएगा कोई नहीं जानता। इस खतरनाक स्थिति में हम चल रहे हैं, हमारे लिए उससे मुकाबला करना ज़्यादा जरूरी है। घर की बातें हैं, ये इंटरनल पॉलिटिक्स में चलता रहता है, ये हम लोग सब सॉल्व कर लेंगे, मैं आपको कह सकता हूँ।
Now, some Rajasthan MLAs who are Gehlot's aides say that Ashok Gehlot is not going to resign as the Chief Minister, even if he stands for the post of the Congress President.
मुख्यमंत्री अभी आज कोई रिजाइन नहीं कर रहे हैं, ऐसी रिजाइन की कोई बात हमारी नहीं, मुख्यमंत्री रिजाइन नहीं कर रहे हैं। ठीक है, आगे भी नहीं
ये ऐसा है, मुख्यमंत्री जी सक्षम है इसका जवाब देने में, और मुख्यमंत्री जी तीसरी बार मुख्यमंत्री हैं। 14 साल हो गए मुख्यमंत्री रहते हुए और पूरा अपना टर्म कंप्लीट करेंगे। और ये मुख्यमंत्री जी हम आप सबसे ज्यादा विद्वान है, वो जानते हैं किस तरीके से टैकल करना है सिचुएशन को। हाई कमान जो है दिल्ली में वो सुप्रीम है, उनके लिए भी, हमारे लिए, सबके लिए।
And now some good news for current and former central government employees. The cabinet has approved a 4% hike in DNS allowance for central government employees and pensioners. It has also extended the free ration scheme for another 3 months till the end of the year. A move that's expected to have big financial and political ramifications. NDTV Simanshu Shekhar reports.
Just ahead of the festive season, Union Cabinet approved the 7th extension to world's biggest food security scheme, PM Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana. A 3-month extension to free ration scheme. There are around 80 crore beneficiaries. They will continue to get 5 kg free ration per person per month for 3 more months. The last extension was to end on 30th September.
मंत्रिमंडल ने प्रधानमंत्री जी की अध्यक्षता में प्रधानमंत्री गरीब कल्याण अन्न योजना को अगले 3 महीने के लिए मंजूरी दी है, उसके विस्तार के लिए मंजूरी दी है। 80 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोगों को इसका लाभ मिलता है।
The Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana was started during the difficult period of COVID crisis. Government believes that a part of the poor and beneficiary families are yet to recover fully from the impact of COVID, and this decision is also expected to give relief to millions of poor and underprivileged families who are struggling to live during the time of high inflation.
Based on the data released by the government, the scheme will now be almost 12% costlier per month than the average for the last 6 months. The cost for the next 3 months will be almost 45,000 crores, taking the total since the beginning of the pandemic to 3.9 lakh crores. Despite the additional cost to the taxpayer, government sources say it will not affect the budget deficit.
पहले से छठे चरण तक 3,45,000 करोड़ रुपया अब तक इस पे व्यय हुआ है, अनुमानित जो सब्सिडी मिली है, और सातवें चरण में 122 लाख मीट्रिक टन खाद्यान्न 80 करोड़ से ज्यादा जरूरतमंद गरीबों को मिलने वाला है और कुल मिलाकर लगभग 3,91,000 करोड़ रुपया इसके ऊपर खर्च आएगा.
After Union Cabinet's approval, the free ration scheme will be in force till the election process continues in Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh, which are slated to go to assembly polls towards the end of this year. In Delhi with Himanshu Shekhar, Usama Shah for NDTV.
But on the same day as the centre extended its free ration scheme, the Calcutta High Court has ruled that the Bengal government's similar scheme of doorstep delivery of ration is illegal. Now, this came as a major setback for the West Bengal government. The Duare ration scheme was launched by the Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee in November last year, and it covers 10 crore poor people across the state. It is also believed to have played a major role in Ms. Banerjee's stupendous victory over the BJP in the 2021 assembly elections.
Well, the High Court believes, after hearing arguments, that the Duare ration scheme, which is rations at the doorstep, is something that's illegal. Why does it believe so? Well, the Enabling Act that allows state governments to, distribute ration is the Food Security Act, which is the parent act, so to speak. Now the High Court says that the state government has gone beyond the limits of delegation of powers of that act, which is to say that by announcing doorstep delivery, it has overstepped the boundaries of the Food Security Act, and therefore if it wants to bring about a doorstep delivery of ration scheme, it has to first get an in principle amendment done by the centre in the food security law. That is where it is. Politically, and also looking at it from the point of malnutrition and food security, many experts say that this is counterproductive, simply because many believe that any kind of ration delivery, food security, doorstep delivery works for the poor and also brings political benefits, but generally it's also a poverty alleviation measure, and that is something that takes a step back if these laws are struck down, where the ration is delivered to the doorstep. And for many of the poor, it makes the difference between having 3 square meals a day or not having access to proper food.
After the countrywide raids on Popular Front of India and arrests of over 300 of its activists, the central government banned the PFI in a late-night order on Tuesday. The organisation has been banned for 5 years under the anti-terror law UAPA. While the PFI said that it accepted the Home Ministry's directive and disbanded its organisation within hours, the student wing of the organisation, which is called the Campus Front of India, has said that it will move court against what they call an unconstitutional ban. Here's a report.
First came the raids, and within just days comes the ban. Posted on the Home Ministry on the small hours of Wednesday morning. Within hours of the ban, these were the scenes at PFI offices across the country. Its website too shut down.
The 6-page ban order lists why the organization has been banned under India's UAPA or the anti-terror laws. In addition, the government released unmarked documents to further justify the ban. The PFI ban order says that PFI has links to banned outfits like ISIS. They say PFI activists have joined ISIS in Afghanistan, Syria, Iraq, and they've been arrested or killed while fighting for ISIS. But the question is, what is the proof? In an unmarked document shared by agency sources, it is alleged that 21 PFI members joined ISIS, but it provides no names or details. Another allegation is that PFI is involved in several criminal and terror cases. But again, what is the proof? The same unmarked document says that over 1,400 criminal cases have been registered against PFI cadres with charges including anti-terror laws. But there is no breakup of how many cases have led to conviction or of how many cases have actually established a PFI link. The document only lists one case of conviction in 2016 for an arms training camp in Kerala where 41 of the PFI were convicted. The Gazette notification also says that PFI cadres were involved in the murders of Hindutva activists. The proof? The ban order lists names of 10 people linked to Hindutva outfits killed between 2016 and 2022. But here too, they have given no breakup of how many cases have led to conviction. Many of these cases are still under trial. Neither have they given the breakup of how many cases have actually established a proven PFI link.
The move was welcomed by BJP chief ministers.
They were involved in a lot of violences, and then they had their command outside the country, and some of the important office bearers went across the border and had their own training. That's how they were doing all anti-national activities, and time had come to ban this organization.
Government critics, however, question the ban, calling it selective action.
While I have always opposed PFI's extreme and radical approach, I have always supported democratic approach. Actions of some individuals who commit crime does not mean that the organization itself must be banned.
We are demanding RSS also banned. PFI banning is not a remedy.
But the government claims they have proof listing some of the allegations. It lists chopping off the limb of a college professor in Kerala in 2010, killings of non-Muslims, obtaining explosives to target prominent people and places. Sources further added that agencies recovered material related to an alleged Mission 2047 to convert India to an Islamic state. As per the law, within the next 3 months, a tribunal headed by a sitting High Court judge will hear from the government and the PFI to decide whether the ban is valid or not. With Neeta Sharma, this is Mariam Alavi for NDTV.
Moving on, 9 months after the death of General Bipin Rawat in a helicopter crash, the government named Lieutenant General Anil Chauhan retired as the new Chief of Defence Staff, which is the country's top military officer. Lieutenant General Chauhan has retired as Eastern Command Chief in May 2021. NDTV's Vishnu Shom tells us more about the new CDS.
It's almost 10 months since India now has a new Chief of Defence Staff after General Bipin Rawat was tragically killed with several others in a helicopter crash in December last year. Now the Chief of Defence Staff has a very important post. He serves to integrate the Army, Air Force and Navy, make them more effective as functioning units, see if they can work together. He's also the single point person who the National Security Advisor and the Prime Minister refer to as far as national security issues are concerned. So that's an important role that he does play. Very significantly, Lieutenant General Chauhan retired last year in May. He's about 18 months senior in terms of age as compared to the serving chiefs, but because he retired as a Lieutenant General, he was junior until this promotion to Chief of Defence Staff. He was a Lieutenant General. They are, of course, the generals and equivalent in the Army, Air Force and Navy, but with the CDS post, he becomes more senior than all the 3 service chiefs in the country. But that's just the seniority structure. The role is so very important in terms of rationalizing the roles of the Army, Air Force and Navy, seeing to it that they work together much better and not in silos.
Moving on to another big story. The Indian rupee closed at its weakest ever on Wednesday. This after dollar hit a fresh 2-decade high and global recession fears are on the rise. The government, meanwhile, defends the plunge. Government sources tell NDTV that the rupee is still doing better than other emerging market currencies. Sakshi Bajaj gets us more details.
The Indian rupee weakens to a fresh record low, now within striking distance of 82 rupees to the dollar. The rupee ended at its weakest ever at 81.94 as per Bloomberg, at 81.94 to the dollar. So what are the factors that have led to this? As per currency experts, the US dollar hitting an over 2-decade high against a basket of currencies. Aggressive rate hikes from US Fed, global recession fears now on the rise. So how does a weak rupee really impact us? It is of course inflationary in nature, which means you will have to shell out more or pay more for imported goods. However, remember, this is good news for exporters. Now experts are also eyeing RBI's commentary on inflation and the currency in the upcoming policy meet closely.
Moving on, a schoolgirl in Bihar had a rather simple ask. Can the government give sanitary pads at rupees 20 to 30? IAS officer Harjot Kaur Bhamra's reply was rather shocking. She said, tomorrow you'll say the government can give jeans too, and why not some beautiful shoes after that? And then she added that you will eventually expect the government to give you family planning methods, condoms, etc. With a series of question-answer shockers ran log.
20 और 30 रुपया का ये बिस्तर नहीं दे सकते हैं।
20 और 30 रुपए का बिस्तर भी दे सकते हैं, कल को जीन पैंट भी दे सकते हैं, परसों को सुंदर जूते क्यों नहीं दे सकते हैं, नर्सों को वो नहीं कर सकते, और अंत में जब परिवार नियोजन की बात आएगी तो निरोध भी मुफ्त में ही देना पड़ेगा, है ना?
International news now. Close to 2 lakh Russians have fled to Finland, Georgia and Kazakhstan since Putin's call to fight in the Ukraine war. Satellite pictures show queues of people at Russia's borders running for kilometers.
Pictures don't lie. Images captured from space show kilometer-long lines of Russian men queuing up at Russia's borders with Georgia, desperate to escape President Putin's call for mobilization against Ukraine in a war that is clearly very unpopular with his countrymen. The exodus isn't limited to just Georgia, which has reported an influx of 53,000 Russians. Kazakhstan reported an arrival of 98,000 Russians, while Finland pegged the number at 43,000 Russians. Amid all this, the White House has announced that it welcomes all Russians who are seeking asylum from Putin's war.
We see that just in the last couple of days as we see the protests continuing in Russia. So anyone seeking refuge for persecution, regardless of their nationality, may apply for asylum in the United States and have their claim adjudicated on a case-by-case basis.
Those who can't flee Russia are protesting against the forced conscription and resorting to committing arson at military offices and even killing a military officer. Now, despite all this, the Kremlin shows no signs of going back on its decision and has resorted to large-scale border closures in order to prevent more Russians from fleeing. Nayantara Singh for NDTV.
Millions have been urged to evacuate Florida as Hurricane Ian intensifies. Cameras aboard the International Space Station captured images of massive Hurricane Ian as it moved near Cuba and towards Florida.